This demo is to show how to use the image capture feature in ACRA. First, let's log in into the ACRA Cloud account. Once after logging in, navigate to the Automation Assets page. Image capture feature is used to capture the screenshots of the target URL window during the execution of test sets. Screenshots will be taken after executing each test step in the test case. Image capture feature can be enabled or disabled in the test set level, test case level, and also in the test step level. Now let's see how to enable or disable the image capture feature in the test set level. To enable or disable the image capture feature for a test set, we need to click on Edit Automation Set icon of the corresponding test set. In the Edit Automation Set pop-up, we need to check the image capture checkbox and click on Update button. To disable the image capture feature for a test set, in the Edit Automation Set pop-up, we need to uncheck the image capture checkbox and click on Update button. When a test set is enabled with image capture feature, all the child test sets or test cases that are present under the particular test set will also be enabled with image capture feature. Similarly, when a test set is disabled with image capture feature, all the child test sets or test cases that are present under the particular test set will also be disabled with image capture feature. Now let's see how to enable or disable the image capture feature in test case level. To enable or disable the image capture feature for a test case, we need to click on Edit Test Case icon of the corresponding test case. In the Edit Test Case pop-up, to enable the image capture feature, we need to check the image capture checkbox and click on Update button. Similarly, to disable the image capture for a test case, in the Edit Test Case pop-up, we need to uncheck the image capture checkbox and click on Update button. When a test case is enabled with image capture feature, all the test steps that are present under the particular test case will also be enabled with image capture feature. If a test case is disabled with image capture feature, all the test steps that are present under the particular test case will also be disabled with image capture feature. Now let's see how to enable the image capture feature in the test step level. To enable the image capture feature for a particular test step, you can click on Edit Test Step icon of the corresponding test step. In the Edit Test Step pop-up, to enable the image capture feature, you can check the image capture checkbox and click Close button. Similarly, to disable the image capture feature for a test step, in the Edit Test Step pop-up, you can uncheck the image capture checkbox and click Close button. So this is how we enable or disable the image capture feature for different levels of automation assets. Also, one more thing to be noted is when a test set is enabled with image capture checkbox, all the test cases under it will also be enabled with image capture checkbox. For example, this test case holds 5 test cases. So when this test case is enabled with image capture checkbox, all these 5 test cases also will be enabled with image capture feature. Out of these 5 test cases, if any one test case is disabled with image capture feature, the corresponding test set will also be disabled with image capture feature, and the remaining 4 test case will still be enabled with image capture feature. The same thing applies with the test case functionality as well. So this particular test case holds 11 test steps. When this test case is enabled with image capture feature, all these 11 test steps that are present under this test case will also be enabled with image capture feature. Out of these 11 test steps, if any one test step is disabled with image capture, the corresponding test case will also be disabled with image capture feature, but the remaining 10 test steps will still be enabled with image capture feature. So now let's enable the image capture feature for a test case. Now I have enabled the image capture feature for this test case. Now let's run this test case and see how it works. To run this test case, we need to create a new automation execution by clicking on Add Automation Execution. Let's enter the execution details. Choosing the product name, entering the product version, choosing the product URL and selecting the automation set and clicking on Create button. So I have successfully created a new automation execution. Now let's navigate to the automation execution page and see that the newly created execution is listed here. The next step is to turn on the ACRA engine. I have already turned on the ACRA engine. So now let's click on Run Test icon of the corresponding execution and entering the iteration name and choosing the browser and selecting the automation set and clicking on Run button. The engine has triggered the execution. So as I have mentioned earlier, after executing each test step, screenshots will be taken. Now let's wait until this test execution gets over. So this test case is all about creating a new sales order in sales order application. It will enter the required details like branch plant, sold to, ship to, and order date. And it will also enter the details for quantity ordered and item number. And once after entering all the required details, it will click OK and a sales order number will get generated. It will store the dynamically generated value and it will close this application. It will enter the stored order number in the order number QBE and it will search for the record which has been created newly. And finally, it will close the application and sign out of JDE. Once the execution is over, the appropriate results will be shown in the engine GUI. Now let's navigate to the execution area of the corresponding execution, expanding the iteration and the test sets and test case. As I have mentioned, screenshots has been enabled for this test case. As we have enabled image capture for this test case, all the test steps under it has been enabled with image capture. So if you see, screenshots has been taken for all the test steps. So clicking on the open screenshot icon for the first test step. So screenshots will be taken after executing each test step in the test case. And by clicking this download screenshot button, the screenshot can be downloaded to your local machine as well. Also, once after the execution is over, the reports will be generated in both PDF and in Excel formats. To view the report in PDF format, you can click on the PDF icon. To view the report in Excel format, you can click on the Excel icon. Also, consolidated reports and details about the execution will be sent to the user's registered email address. Thank you.